even. Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Bolster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career. Go ahead, Revy. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Red win! Win! Liner to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
A pregame edition of Chatterbox Reds. I'm Trace Fowler. That's Nick Kirby. We have Mike Hart up here just to make sure that he tells us everything that happened during the day that you were driving down from Cleveland. No mistake by the lake, some would say. And you've been on social media all day, so you actually know that we're in the running for Santiago Espinal Jr.,
2.0.
which we'll get into in just a bit. I'm sure maybe it's Eugenio Suarez, maybe it's not. We'll discuss that and more. But we're out at Smoke Justis in Covington, Kentucky. We appreciate everybody that came out here, genuinely. Sometimes I sit here and I think to myself, Nick, we started this show 3 years ago, I think, at this point. I don't know for sure, but we had about 10 people in the chat. We were basically watching a baseball team that was projected to win about 62 games, I believe. This was before
64 and a half.
Okay, Nick knows for sure. But we did not have the arrival of Elly De La Cruz. We did not have the arrival of Noel V. Marte, Matt McClain, and the whole bunch that came up. And it's kind of wild to think that this is where we are now. And hopefully, at the trade deadline, we can find some more help and get ourselves over the proverbial hump. I'm sure that's something we'll discuss in this show and or more. But I just want to say a special thank you to the folks here at Smoke Justis for having us out. It's a beautiful place. I was here just one time previously for a meeting, and I was very, very impressed, and I am very thankful that all of you guys have come here to support us. I obviously have no chat in front of me, so I'm sure Optimistic John is screaming and yelling at me as we currently speak, and there are super chats I'm probably supposed to get to, and we are there now. So we'll do the first super chat. Jacob Doyle says, cheers from Kansas. Enjoy the game tonight, Chatterbox family. Bring home a winner. Go Reds. So thank you, Jacob, for the super chat. But, Nick, you obviously come down from Cleveland. You brought on Mike for a very specific reason, and that was just to try to catch us up. Nick, what did you see today other than maybe just traffic? Is that all we figured out today?
Yeah, pretty much that. And I heard we're in the running for Isaiah kind of for Leffer.
IKF.
IKF. And
Gotcha.
Gio Urshela.
Yep.
So, I mean, big moves. I mean, that's big time.
Yeah, Buster only reported earlier that if we're not able to get things worked out with the Diamondbacks for Eugenio Suarez, that the Reds would pivot to Gio Urshela of the A's, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa of the Pirates, or one of the Mets infielders, Brett Beatty, Luis Angel Acuna, or Mark Vientos. Does that move the needle for either one of you all?
No, you know what Mark Vientos does.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it.
No, that reminds me of you said, I said, why even bring those guys up? And you said, well, it's negotiating. I said, that's like standing there in front of the beach house property and being like, yeah, we're interested. And then all of a sudden they're like, but you know what? If you don't bring the price down just a little bit, I'm going to go live in this outhouse right across the street. I mean, I don't know if that's really a fair comparison to sit there and just. I mean, we'll see. I don't want to sit here and say that maybe IFK comes over, he ends up
IKF.
IFK.
I think we should call him IFK. Actually.
I don't even know. It doesn't really matter. Regardless, he has one home run this year for those that don't know who he is, and that would fit in nicely with Santiago Espinal playing first base. But that'll be the last time I'm negative on this show. But I do want to say that if I have to watch Shohei Ohtani pitch against Santiago Espinal playing first base on what would be getaway day, I probably am just going to get off socials and maybe wait until Bristol.
Well, thankfully, I think he's only got about a 4 innings limit tomorrow, so
okay.
At least you'd only have 4 innings against.
So maybe only 1 at bat.
Yeah.
2 if the Reds.
Probably not. He'll be hitting second, but keep going. What did we miss, Mike? Anything else that we missed today?
Also, there was a report released by ESPN that said, I think it mocked out 10 different trades, and I think 3 of the 10 trades were Reds trades, including the Reds getting Eugenio Suarez, including the Reds getting Luis Robert Jr., and then the Reds getting Taylor Ward as well, which would be interesting. I think he's a little bit older, but hitting the ball pretty well for the Angels as an outfield bat. So does that move the needle for you?
Those 2 names do.
Yeah.
I think that helps. That's one thing we've discussed on the show probably ad nauseum, but I think that there's this thought that they have to have a third baseman, and I guess with the performance of Noel V. Marte last night defensively at third base, maybe you could sit there and make a case for that to a certain extent. But I keep going back to first base personally, and I know that I lump first base and DH together, but to me, like, in order to be to have a serious team and to put forth a lineup that you can feel good about, either one of 2 things need to happen. And we keep saying the same things about begging somebody to play first base that's going to also hit. And Spencer Steer, to give him credit, and I know that it maybe seems like it's a backhanded compliment, he has played first base exceptionally well defensively. He really has, and you can't take that away from him. But, again, for a lineup that needs some firepower, you can't continue to run out players that play first base, a position that has a very premium component to it that is power, and get the production that we've gotten out of Spencer Steer. Now, maybe you can convince me that if you go out and you get a big bat in the outfield and you do get Eugenio Suarez, that you can kind of hide, if you want to call that position, a little bit. Sure, sign me up for that. But you can't continue, in my opinion, to keep throwing out what has been a lackluster DH, a lackluster first baseman, and expect something to change, because I don't think it's going to.
Taylor Ward is definitely a name that intrigues me, but I'll believe the Angels will trade him when they actually trade him, because that's a team that never sells. Like they've had like multiple years and multiple times where it was pretty obvious that they should sell and they haven't. So I don't know. He's still under control next year, which is really my big thing. I'm not really that interested in a rental unless it's for pennies on the dollar. Like, unless you're getting someone that's mostly a salary dump. I just don't want a player that you could acquire and you have a bad week and you're out of it. And that's it. You just traded prospects for a guy for absolutely nothing, at least with Taylor Ward, at least with Luis Robert, at least with Yandy Diaz. Even if things go south, you have an extra year or multiple years depending on the player. So those are the players that I'm interested in. I just have no interest whatsoever in giving up valuable prospects for this year alone.
I had a question for you. I had seen there's obviously all these trade rumors that float around. What's true and what's not true, who knows? We got people that are using our thumbnails on social media suggesting that we're reporting news. But that wasn't maybe the truth. That said, my question to you is there was one trade that came up that was, I believe it was basically for Yandy Diaz. It was also Sal Stewart and Connor Phillips. Yes or no?
No. No.
Is there any, I guess let's start here. Is there anything that I could say up here that would make you get rid of 2 prospects that are inside the top 25?
Well, I mean, it depends on the 2 prospects. I mean, you said Sal Stewart at the first
2.
one. I mean,
it's number 2 prospect right there.
I mean, number 29 and number 30, maybe. Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Genuinely, though, like what do you have to get back in return?
Sal Stewart, I mean, I think you would need at least 2 years past this year of a player. That would probably be. I mean, unless it's, I don't know, someone absolutely elite. I think you would need at least 2026 and 2027 for Sal Stewart.
Because what you're trading away with Sal Stewart, not only is it upside that you're missing out on, but you're also missing out on 5 years of control of this, the younger guy that seems to just be coming into his own, that, you would be trading that away too. So it's just like that. I think some of these front offices might even value that more. Than it's just like the fact that they're able to, you see these trades where somebody goes out and it's just because they are able to have more control at a cheaper price for longer. So I think there's that aspect of it too that I think front offices value a lot more than maybe the typical fan might.
It's fair. I think ultimately, though, the question lies, which is at some point, and I get it, you follow this team, you follow this franchise, you follow the farm system, you watch guys like Sal Stewart who you get a comp pick and you follow them through the minors and they've done well, at every level, at every single level. But it's like at some point, you've got to find a way to put some semblance of a message to somebody, whether it's the fans, whether it's the players inside, and I will continue to say this, and maybe it's just my fandom coming out and it doesn't make total sense from a front office perspective. But there has to be a message sent, like it's time to win at some point. It just can't always be like, well, let's make sure that we have this controllable player and that controllable player, and then those controllable players turn out to be Jose Barrero. And I get the concept that you've continued to say, but how many times are we going to get to a spot where even to the extent like we've got to win when Ellie's here, and then all of a sudden when Ellie's here for 2 or 3 years, it's like, well, I mean, realistically speaking, Ellie's probably going to get traded. We'll get some prospects back for him, and then maybe the next time this core will come up. I would say the biggest thing with this whole situation that no one's talking about is the CBA. And I don't know what totally the inner circles of the front offices know about the CBA, but when you talk about controllable players, my concern would be, what does that mean? Because if you get to a CBA that means the season's 40 games in 2027, and you're making trades right now hoping that you're going to have controllable players for what would be considered a full season, is that going to be something to where that's part of your season? You might not owe them as much money because it gets
prorated,
compensated down and prorated. But the reality is that that's a part of the discussions, and that's what you want. But 2027 is no guarantee. Like, it could be 40 games. And I'm not saying that we have that answer right now, but it's something that should be at the top of the mind, I would think, at the front office, which is, if we're really only concerned about, essentially how long we have of these guys under contract, and maybe it is 2 years for certain players, if it's a 2-year situation, in my opinion, I would be concerned about how much value you have for what they're going to be in 2027, because it would not shock me, not to turn this into a sour situation with MLB. It wouldn't shock me if they don't play. It wouldn't shock me if they play 60 games. But the fact of the matter is that Rob Manfred right now is getting ran out of locker rooms based off of what he's saying. It doesn't look like it's going to be the prettiest negotiation.
No, it does not. It's going to be wild when we get to that point. And while I think the salary would be prorated, so would the service time. So if they only do play 40 games, I'm pretty sure they get a full year of service time.
That's what they did during COVID, where they basically prorated salaries. But everyone, even if you chose to sit out in that one, you got a service time. That's how they did it with COVID. So it's like even if you play 60 games, you got the whole year.
You would lose out on that year.
So, yeah, in the eyes of the owners, you would lose out on, 80 games or whatever of playing, because they get credit for that even though it didn't happen.
I guess my point, if you really say you got to go all in when Ellie's here, I think you do that in the off season when you get players back that have a full year of service, because you're trading for 2 months of a player, and we 2 months of a player is a crapshoot. I mean, you see over a course of 162, you see players kind of go through their highs and lows, and you end up getting the value out of it. Like I would say, Nick Martinez is maybe the perfect example. Trading for 2 months of Nick Martinez, what are you going to get those 2 months? I don't know. But I know over the course of a season, he's probably going to be a 2.5, 3-win player. Right. So I'd rather, if I'm going to go all in, I'd rather do it when I have a blank slate, when I can kind of have, there's no certainty, but you're going to have a little bit more of a certainty in terms of what you're getting. I still don't agree with ever really going all in. I think that's, I don't think that's works very well for small markets. I saw something interesting about how it was a really good piece written, but it was talking about, well, are we sure the Reds can actually be the Guardians, Rays, and I don't know who the other team is with their model? Well, we also haven't given it a real chance to play itself out. So I want to see it played out a little bit longer.
That's fair. I mean, the reality is you're not wrong, and I don't think that the fans that have been waiting for a long time that are saying we've heard this before, we've been told this before, and all we've been left with is, failure. And I mean, that's a fair. That's the delta that I think every Reds fan battles right now, which is there has been new regimes and different ideologies and different mindsets about how you should build a baseball team, but they've all failed in some aspect. And even when they were absolutely exceptional in 2012, right? Like you could make a very good case in 2012. They could have won the World Series. I think if you ask any rational Reds fan, that's the closest that we've been in our lifetime. And I say my lifetime, I trust me, I've heard plenty about the 1975 and 1976 teams. I've also heard about the wire-to-wire 1990 teams. I hate it for me, but I don't know anything about any of that. So the closest thing that I have, the thing that I remember doing is right across the river, Nick. I sat down in the seats that Buster Posey hit a baseball about 20 feet to my left, and ever since then, it's been nothing but misery. So I also understand and I feel the pain of all of these people that sit online and say, yeah, I'd love to buy into this process that is, we don't want to give up service time. We don't want to worry about, Sal Stewart. If we make a trade for him and we don't get Eugenio Suarez, we just want to see postseason baseball. And I think you do too. And the issue is that you have these two sides of the aisle that want the same thing. And the question is how do you ultimately get there? And I've always said, and I will continue to say, that the issue lies much deeper than what the Reds decide to do or don't do, and that is what the 2027 CBA is going to be all about. Now, whether or not we want to sit here and make that excuse, we're not going to. You are a Major League Baseball franchise after all. But that's the hand we're dealt in Cincinnati, is that you're going to have to be creative, and I think that almost buys into what you talk about more times than not, is that with the hand that we're dealt, this is the winning formula. It's been showcased at other places. Speaking of the Guardians, not to jump off track here, is there any chance that we could, maybe find some leverage here? I mean, are they going to shut the franchise down? I mean, half their team's on DraftKings or FanDuel, no free ads, of course. But I'm just wondering, maybe is there a way for us to just call them up and just say, yeah, like from Ohioan to Ohioan, you guys are getting ready to close
Kate
business
Smith,
down.
come on down.
Yeah, is there
Stephen
a way
Kwan, come on
what
down.
does it take? Kwan? Is there a way to get
I'm not sure
Ramirez?
I trade for any pitchers right now.
That's a good point.
I mean,
relief pitchers probably aren't the people
are
that
you
we
sure
want.
you would have give up anything for a pitcher that you're not
No,
sure?
I didn't say pitchers. I said Ramirez. The guys that look like maybe if they're gambling on themselves. We know about that in this town.
You went there.
I'm just saying. I mean, we know a little bit about that. We like betting on ourselves.
There's actually a trade that happened just now.
Okay.
It's Blue Jays acquire Sir Anthony Dominguez from the Orioles, reliever,
All right.
right-handed reliever. I know that's not something that's super relevant, but hey, there are things that are happening. It is breaking news. Just happened. Yes.
When is the deadline? Do you think that Eugenio Suarez start to lose the leverage on saying that this is the price tag? The Yankees obviously passed. It sounds like some other teams have decided to pass. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know all the teams. The Mariners that said they were going to pass. When do you think that comes to be? Is it a day before, 2 days before? I mean, we're already at basically 2 days now.
It probably depends. Like guys like Ryan O'Hearn, when did they get moved? I think that would put more pressure on the Diamondbacks,
right.
because if if he's still available, then you kind of feel like, all right, you still have time to kind of work. But once they start whittling it down, then I think it's going to kind of be a little bit more pressure on them.
I think Suarez is going to probably come down to right near the end, just because I think the asking price right now is super high. I think that's been a lot of the reporting. It's just like the Diamondbacks are like, yeah, we'll take Sal Stewart, Cam Collier. What do you think? Right. And I think whenever there's that big of a difference, it may come down to the wire where there's going to need to be compromise on both sides. And it's just like, well, we really can't not trade him, right? He's an expiring. We're not going anywhere. So maybe we'll soften our price. So I would imagine that there's going to be something like that. Suarez probably gets moved, but I would imagine closer to the deadline. I say that now, it's probably going to happen tonight when we're all.
It also depends on how many offers do they have. Do they have like 6 offers still standing that they still feel like are valid, that they haven't seen teams go to Plan B? When those start whittling down, then. But the trade deadline is also a crapshoot. I think back to 2022, the Reds had Luis Castillo and Tyler Mahle. You probably would have thought Luis Castillo would have been the one to kind of get down to the wire because he clearly had the more value. He gets moved like 3-4 days before the deadline. Tyler Mahle, it goes till the final day. So sometimes it's a crapshoot. It's which teams, because you have to. You are fighting with two sides, and it's when does one team meet that threshold or not, and it's also a game of chicken between the two teams. So. It's unpredictable. I think I agree with Mike. I think it's more likely that it probably is on deadline day. But if one of these teams comes out and says this is our offer, if not, we're going to move to Plan B, and the Diamondbacks feel like this is it, they're probably going to take it.
That's probably what happened with the Yankees. They were just like, hey, this is our offer, and they said no thanks. It's like, all right, Ryan McMahon, here we go. We'll do that instead.
We're not going much. They've said we know we're not going at least much farther than this. And if we're so far apart, there's no point.
Yeah.
There is news within the chat saying that Suarez is not in the lineup, and also Kwan is not in the lineup. So,
TJ Friedl's also not in the lineup.
That's also true.
Which we'll get into. Dad.
We'll get that, and we'll get into that in just a minute. I will say, hopefully, we'll save TJ Friedl. But I guess the question that I would have to you, and maybe also you, Mike, is like, what's the line in the sand? Because we sit here and discussed, we're playing against a very, very good Dodgers team. We all know how good they are. The reality is that, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'm proud to say it during certain series. Sometimes when you win one game in a series, it's a massive, massive deal. I know that maybe some would think that's a loser's mentality, but I just think that's the reality. If you can find a way to win one game in this series, in my opinion, you've won the series. And that's why I feel like Sunday was such a monumental game. And I would even go back to the Sunday in New York that I got a little frustrated by, because you only have so many more opportunities in a season like this to find yourself in a position before the deadline to win games that I would call are toss-ups. Like last night, the Reds lost. I do understand that they were one swing away from winning, so you can make that argument, but they got outplayed. They didn't play well. They were poor defensively. If you watched that game last night, at not one time did you think to yourself, man, we just have run into some tough luck and we deserve to win this game. That happens throughout the season. Last night was not one of those nights. The question I guess I have is when do you shift the mindset if you're Nick Krall and Brad Meador if things go one way or the other? Like, do you think that they are genuinely going to get more aggressive if they win the next 2 days versus lose the next 2 days? It seems like they would, but maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on such a small sample.
Well, that leads us right into a super chat from Nathan Dove. Biggest fan from Houston, watch you all every night. Can we see a scenario where we wait too long to buy and become sellers again by Thursday? I think if it's players with multiple years of control, what happens the next 2 days doesn't matter as much.
That's a good point.
But if you get to Thursday, and let's just say the worst case scenario happens, you lose tonight, you lose tomorrow, the Padres win tonight, the Padres win tomorrow.
Right.
You're 4 games back. That would be crazy to go get Eugenio Suarez then. 4 games out of a playoff spot, the last playoff spot.
Yeah, and let's be also very clear. It's basically one spot, right? Like I think that sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves and think that maybe, the Mets falter, but the Mets have gone on a run now to where they might win the division. Like, at some point, you got to tell yourself the truth, which is this is a one-team race for the very, very final wild card spot. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Cubs will fall apart as there's a Cub fan in the crowd. I highly doubt it. Maybe the Brewers will fall apart. I highly doubt it. The reality is there's one way to get in the postseason, and that is the final spot. And if you're in a spot now where you find yourself in 2 days, and I know you thought I was crazy maybe when I said this, and I still stand by it. I think if you can do your job well and you're Nick Krall, I think you can play both sides of the aisle right now to a certain extent and just buy some time. And I would buy time until this series was pretty much damn near over. Because you still have what basically is, like, I think at that point, some hours on the clock. Certainly if things start moving and you feel like you have a great deal, sure. I'm not saying that you don't make a move. But you're really in a difficult spot if you're the Reds front office from the standpoint of truly knowing if you should be buyers or sellers. The fan base, certainly, the vast majority of them, is going to want to be buyers because of what I said before. And that is, quite simply, they want something they've not had in a long time. But a reasonable person would understand that why would you go out, and buy a luxury vehicle when you're barely making the electricity payment and you kind of need to maybe recoup some funds somewhere else. And that's the delta they find themselves in. I say it's 2.5 games personally. I know that might not, I don't know if there's an off day for the Padres or not, but 3 games is a really tough one for me. But anything less than 3 games, I think that you can be aggressive buyers, whatever that means. And if you're anything more than that, then I would genuinely just focus on 2026, which, to your point, if you can find some controllable assets like Luis Robert Jr., if you could get him, who cares? I mean, if you don't make it, you don't make it, but you at least go into next season thinking that you have a whole new piece that might help you.
At this point, you might even get the White Sox to chip in for his salary too, where it's just like
whenever there's such a thing, I hope that's not. Yeah. If ownership can't cover like a couple $1 million,
sure,
then they really stink for this year.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know, brother.
That's when you're really putting the front office in a hole. Like, I get the whole not signing 7-year deals.
Sure.
But we're talking a couple $1 million in terms of getting prospects back or not. That, to me, that's crazy.
I highly doubt you're going to be able to see this online, but here's the thing. Nick's imploring that ownership covers maybe a couple $1 million on the deal to maybe save a prospect or two. I just want everybody to know, maybe you can see this at home, maybe you can't. Let's worry about getting maybe the I don't know what you'd call these, the panels fixed perhaps before we just stick some Scotch tape over the rail and think that we got it taken care of and covered out here at Great American Ballpark. I'm just saying, if we're worried about covering a couple $1 million, I'm just saying, in what world do you think that that's going to work, Nick? That's Scotch tape over the top of a rail that has been shattered. And by the way, that was not shattered during the game that I was at. So it's been sitting there for at least a few days. Maybe that's a different department, different budget, different payroll, but I'm not going to hold out hope. I'm not going to hold out hope.
I think the choice was Sheng-Yin Lin's signing bonus or that piece of glass. Okay. And the Reds went wisely with Sheng-Yin Lin's signing bonus.
On that, yeah.
Gotcha. Yes, that's what it was.
Craig Sandlin just said that Suarez back in the lineup.
Okay.
So Suarez back in the lineup.
I think it was
the Diamondbacks must have had panic. They must have had texting, okay, fine, we'll put him in the lineup. We'll prove to you.
Yes, that his hand is not hurt because he took one.
That's right. He's going to have one at bat, and then he's going to get taken out of the game, and then you're going to find out that he's been traded. Is that fair?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it is fair to ask. I guess if you're in the market for Eugenio Suarez and he basically is coming out of a game, you'd like to maybe see him actually out there again. Although you'd like to also think you have a medical staff that would be able to diagnose whether or not he has a broken hand or maybe something else that would be wrong with him that would make him not available for the rest of the year.
A question to you.
You're just going to go right
way
past that?
Way off topic. So Rhys Hines, our guy, brought up today to fill T.J. Friedel's spot.
Yes, he is.
For one day.
Does Hines get hugs if they trade him tonight? Is he a huggable guy?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I've never been to a game where
Will Benson's going to get traded too. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, it'd be the one night I come this year.
He is, and I hate that. I really do. I hate that. I don't even think you're going to get great value for him. I could be wrong. I think he's a guy. I tell you what, like of all of the guys that we could try, I don't really care who we trade. I've said before, if you told me guaranteed that we make the postseason and we win a postseason series, you trade whoever the hell you want. I don't care. I like the Cincinnati Reds. I'll always like the Cincinnati Reds. I love certain players, no doubt, but I'm never team over player in that spot. But Will Benson's a guy to me that if he went somewhere else, the next thing you know, you look up in 2 years, he's in the All-Star game, and he's found a spot in the corner outfield spot where he looks like he's what he could have, and what he has been, to be frank with you at times. It wouldn't shock me. But I do think Will Benson's going to get traded. I could be completely wrong on that. I somewhat hope that I am, but I'm ready for it. I've prepared my heart for that.
But the one thing to consider with both Benson and Hines that I don't think enough people give credit for is that both of those guys have options next year. You can send those guys to AAA and you can bring them back up and forth. You cannot go sign someone that has that ability. So if you get rid of them, it hurts your depth in 2026. So that's something to consider. I'm not saying you don't trade them if someone gives you a valuable offer, but that has to be part of the equation. The question, though, is with TJ Friedl out, if they ship out Will Benson, who's playing center field? Is it Marte? Is it Espinal?
I think Reese Hines has been playing in AAA.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Hines is Oh, no. They did call him up to be the backup center fielder.
Yeah.
And I would also say, like, TJ Friedel's going to be gone for one day. I hope he enjoys
one day.
I hope he enjoys fatherhood.
Barlow only had one day.
Barlow there was an off day too, and he also might have left like in the middle of the game. And we didn't hear about it the day before.
Okay, with all due respect, there's a lot of baseball games that need to be won. I'm sure that we can surround.
Dude, come on! I have a pregnant wife that's probably watching this show.
And that's
don't
fine.
you dare!
And Nick,
don't you dare
Nick,
put that evil out into the world.
Let me tell you something, Nick. If you're making millions of dollars at Chatterbox. And we had a lot of something to be done. We had
I'm taking a full week off. I'm taking a full week off.
Not in my no.
Not during the baseball season.
Not during the baseball season. If I need to win some games, in all seriousness, obviously there's some tongue in cheek there. I would expect him to come back probably in Bristol.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be back for Bristol.
I know, but I'm saying like he's gonna have. There's that off day on Sunday. He'll be back before that, I would hope, but I don't know if he will be. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you think he will be?
I would assume. Like,
is there a chance Reese Hines hits 2 home runs tonight and they call TJ and say, "Hey, man, just
take all the time you
day.
need"?
Yeah, take all the time.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't see that.
I don't know. I mean, that's the other thing too. TJ Friedel's been sliding as well. I don't know. Nobody wants to talk.
He's played pretty good the last couple of days.
Yes, but we always do that in Reds fandom, don't we? We're like, oh, the last 10 days. Look how great Matt McClain's been. It's like, well, look at the last 10 months.
Friedl of all the players deserves credit because I think he's like the only. It's him and Elliott, the only two like 110
everyday guys
plus WRC plus guys. So Friedl deserves, I think, as much slack as anyone as a guy that can slump. We got another super
Jack. Go ahead. You got some up top there that you need to get to.
Right? Oh, we didn't get to that one. I'm sorry. Leave it at the table.
Sorry how you.
I missed you.
People don't know this, but you can't see the whole name. But the fact that we know the names is hilarious to me. Go ahead.
FOMO here in Panama City, Florida. Wish
really,
I could be
you have FOMO. Come on. I have FOMO.
Slam a server for
great.
me. P.S. Hector Rodriguez isn't in the Bats lineup, boys. Interesting observation.
It is.
Today is Tuesday after an off day, too.
Interesting.
That's, that is a weird off day.
That's a guy you're selling high on.
And that's big league journalism right there from Leave It at the Table.
That is.
We could use a lot more of that around here.
What are you trying to say?
No, nothing. No, that's a good point. I have the prospect guy.
Here we go.
He's the one guy though. Like I look at guys that have. I'm a sell high guy. There's probably not a single player in the Reds farm system that you'd be selling high on. I mean, Sal Stewart, yes, but Sal Stewart was also like here and went to here. Hector Rodriguez went from here to like here. He'd be one guy I might be a little more willing to part on than other guys.
I would buy into that. The only thing that you've swung and missed on since I've known you is 2 things. You've swung and missed on Will Myers for sure. You said he was going to have a higher OPS than Spencer Steer. Spencer Steer had a career year, by the way.
Yeah.
Will Myers was hanging out in Panama City with Leave It at the Table around the All-Star break. And the only other thing that I can think of that you missed on, do you remember?
I missed on a lot, brother.
I think who was it here? Hector Rodriguez. I think that you might have said not Nick Lodolo, excuse me. Andrew Abbott's underlying metrics last year weren't adding up to what you wanted them to be.
You know, the biggest
I'm just saying.
The biggest mistake that I made on Andrew Abbott was I did not give him the ability to improve his underlying metrics.
Okay. Fair.
Like, I did not account for the fact that he could go into an offseason and find ways to miss bats better, find ways to limit home runs. Because his underlying metrics have significantly improved from last year. It's not like he has the same underlying metrics and he's just, proven them over again. They significantly improved this year. So that is part of it. I'll take my lumps for that, but he did improve his underlying metrics.
He doesn't appear to be a guy that would improve significantly during offseason to offseason. He looks like a guy to me that might be,
but you never know.
Throwing some bush lights back quite a significant amount of the time.
I do think he has significantly worked on his conditioning because Francona's talked about that a lot. About how he's worked out to be able to stay longer into the season. So he deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, he completely, I think, committed this offseason. I don't know exactly what he did, but there was clearly a lot that he did to improve himself. That's why he's an all-star, and that's probably why he's going to end up making himself a lot of money, at least in arbitration. So shout out to him. I mean, that's big stuff.
All right. You got another super chat.
Yes, the Steelers, 4190. Who would Kirby be willing to give up for Quan?
You also missed another one, but we'll go back to them in just a second if Nathan is worried. Right in front of your face.
We got Nathan.
You did.
We did get Nathan. That was one that I lumped right in. I was actually
okay, so you went
fluid
down.
Situation. Yeah,
I'm
I just
sorry.
missed.
My apologies then. Go ahead with the Steelers 4150.
Quan's interesting because Quan has 2 years after this season, which is obviously significantly more. I feel like for this season, Quan's not necessarily the best fit because he's just an on-base guy. And, yeah, I mean, that helps, but I feel like a guy like Suarez or Ozuna fits this team better. But you're talking a good player that, A, is a really good defensive player, can steal bases, that you have for 2 years beyond this year. So it depends on what they're offering, but I'm a guy that if it's a valuable player and you're able to get him on what you feel like is a good deal, I don't necessarily worry about the present situation as much. I'm just as worried about the next 2 years. These certainly would help this team win more. And I'll say this. If you did decide to maybe trade TJ Friedl in the offseason, Stephen Kwan doesn't play center field but could kind of fill that type of role that you're missing.
I thought for a long time that they were going to try to buy-sell with somebody like Austin Hayes and then bring in Kwan, right? But I think we're now at a point where it's if you were to sell Austin Hayes, there'd be an all-out riot on the streets, right? There wouldn't be something that I think this fan base could go with. And
not a good reason to – that's also like a bad way to go about business, though. We can agree on that,
yeah,
right? Like you shouldn't be allowing what you think the fan base is going to do, whether or not you're going to make a decision or whether you will.
That's
fair.
That is a good point, but I think that there's like a level in which they feel that, hey, if we can just continue to – if we were to lose Austin Hayes, even if we bring in – somebody like a Stephen Kwan, it doesn't feel like it necessarily elevates the Reds to be better contenders for this year, which is, from what we've seen, what they're looking for throughout this trade deadline. And even if it's marginal, but they want to see the end of the trade deadline, we have made ourselves better for the push this year. So I agree. It's somebody that I'd love to be able to see, and maybe it's some of the, something that we approach in the offseason to be able to bring in because of, defensive value is something that, especially in the outfield, I think is something that we maybe don't think about as much as we would. Maybe we should. It's just like this dude winning Gold Gloves, and I think he leads the league in outfield assists as well, and things like that. It just it can steal you things that you don't even realize that you do. So it's one of those where.
Yeah, like listen, if Noel V. Marte yesterday, and again, I'm not trying to crush him, but I'm saying if he makes both of those plays, right? I think that was a 2-run difference essentially.
Right.
What if he comes up and hits a 2-run home run? Everybody that leaves home is going to basically remember the 2-run home run, and if he makes both of those plays, more times than not, the vast majority of the fan base is not even going to think twice about the plays that he made. Like, that's just part of it. It's part of the nature. Is it fair? No, not necessarily. It's hard to quantify defense sometimes. I think that it's maybe the most difficult stat or metric based to try to figure out whether someone's good or bad. You can use outs above average. You can try to figure out the range via the StatCast. You could go towards traditional
DRS,
fielding metrics,
right, yeah.
Defensive run saves. There's a million ways to try to do it, but I don't think it's been mastered to a certain extent as well as offense has been. So it's really it's a good point by you, but to me, if you get rid of, and again, I don't think this is going to happen, but if they were to get rid of Austin Hayes and you add in a guy like Kwon, again, we're going back to, I guess, a philosophical fundamental debate, which is what do you value more? Do you want guys that are just going to get on base and find a way to go base to base to base? Or do you want to think to yourself, it's probably in our best interest to play in a smaller ballpark to find some guys where one guy walks and then we just hit a home run. You get 2 runs that way versus it being, 4 hits in an inning and you get 2 runs. Now, obviously, Barry yesterday mentioned that home runs kill rallies, so maybe they'll go get Kwon. That's possible.
I don't know how
this
much.
is why I listen to the radio.
Can I defend Barry really fast? The best that I can.
Please do.
The best
please
that I can.
do.
Okay, listen. As you well know, if you're watching at home and you watch this show plenty of times, this is nothing against Barry as a player, by the way. I want to be very clear in saying that. I do think that there is a very probably what we would call deficiency when it comes to broadcasting baseball games for Barry Larkin. I'll leave it at that, trying to be nice on this show. He just was terrible at illustrating what he was trying to say. And I'm trying to act like this is what he meant by this. You ready for it? I do believe if you're down by 6 or 7 runs, 5 runs in the final inning, and you're in a spot where you have 2 guys on base with nobody out or 1 out, I would say it's in your best interest to continue to just find ways to keep getting on guys on base because you keep the bases packed, you make the pitcher throw from the stretch, you make it feel like fundamentally there's a crowded, there's crowded bases. And I do think psychologically there's a difference between there being nobody on base and people on base when you're pitching. That's only in the 9th inning. That's only when you're down by more than the amount of runs it would take to tie the game by hitting a home run. If we're trying to justify that home runs aren't better than a walk or a hit or a single or a double in the innings 1 through 8, then you've lost me. So I'm trying to say that maybe Barry meant that in the 9th inning, when you're down by a lot of runs, I know what you're going to do. Okay,
What inning was this?
It's not good for Barry.
This was a 1-0 game.
Yeah,
in the first inning.
I was trying to be nice, Nick. Listen, sometimes you got to be nice in life. You can't always be negative and pessimistic and always scream and yell and be mean to everybody, Nick.
That's
what
we
you're
always
known
say.
for.
Negative Nick.
Negative Nick.
Yeah,
that's what everyone says about Nick. Negative Nick.
Should
there
give
he
away
goes
that
again.
T-shirt.
Yeah, should have brought that shirt. But my point in saying that is if you've played baseball and you've grown up in that culture, whatever you want to say about it, and you get to a point where you've played, and I don't mean to say like high-level baseball. I'm not trying to be like you don't know anything about baseball if you've never played it. There is like this common thread within like teams that if you're in a spot late in a game and you hit a home run, it does clear the bases and it does maybe take the juice out of the inning. That's what I think he meant by it. Hopefully nothing more than that. I'm not defending the comment in the first inning, to be clear. I'm just saying that there is a fundamental way to say that does make sense in a completely different situation. Like throwing Hail Marys.
I think 8 innings ahead of the conversation.
Maybe Barry likes to get ahead. He was just 8 innings early. I don't know. But my point is saying there is a time and a place to throw a Hail Mary. It's just not in the first quarter on the first drive. And maybe he just misspoke. I'm trying to be nice. I think I did a good job.
You were very, very nice to Barry.
Yeah, I'll take the guaranteed runs.
Should join you on PR staff. I mean,
no. Yeah, that's what they say about me too. Yeah, he's the PR guy. He's the guy that says a lot of nice things.
Barry's part of the Orlando Baseball Club group. So
no.
Orlando's
How
trying.
do you know this?
I just saw it the other day.
They're trying to get a major league team.
Yeah, it was a long time. I don't think
really?
anyone in Cincinnati reported on this.
Gotcha.
We missed the boat because that obviously would have been on social media with a Smoke Justis logo on it.
That's right.
Breaking news.
Of course. But yeah, it was like he joined some group in Orlando. He's like one of there's 8 dudes. Their pictures are on there. There's Barry Larkin contributing or spokesperson or something for it. So maybe he'll be down in Orlando.
Can we talk about why we just can't hit home runs? I mean, we're not this bad. Like, we play in a park that you should hit home runs in, with all due respect, of course.
I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't think it's been that bad since, May 1st. I feel like maybe it feels worse than
it's July 29th.
No, I'm saying from May to the current day. It was really bad in April, but I think that after that first month, they've at least kind of been closer to average.
When was the last time we hit a home run?
Well, the last week's not been good, but
I'm just saying.
Stevenson, right?
It feels like they really do. I mean, it probably feels like this for every team in some degree, but this team definitely does feel like an extreme where, like, there's, like, weeks where they're hitting home runs left and right, and there's other weeks where they can't buy a home run. It definitely does feel like that this year.
It's fair.
I mean, it's been pretty widely publicized that they're just the mindset is changed from, hey, we want to hit home runs, and hey, we want to actually just hit line drives and hit the ball hard, and then we'll luck into some home runs when it comes to our ballpark. The idea is like if we're hitting line drives all over the place in the warm summer Cincinnati weather with the Great American Small Park, we're going to get some that way. So it's clearly been a fundamental shift to not focus on it. I don't know if it was ever a focus under, say, David Bell and whoever the hitting coach was last year. But it's pretty clear that even just take a look at Ellie, right? Ellie is hitting much more line drives, even ground balls, and he's striking out less, but he's also, not having potentially the same power that he had last year. And so I think it's partially a fundamental shift of how they're approaching their hitting to want to hit more line drives and hit the ball gap to gap. I wouldn't say that they're like preaching, hey, don't ever hit home runs. We're not trying to hit home runs.
Well, definitely not, no.
Right. But I think they want to get away from, hey, I'm going up to hit a bomb, which, what happens if you bring in Eugenio Suarez? I think this is something that it's like, if you look, Eugenio Suarez might have more home runs than singles this year. He's going up there to hit a bomb every single time. So, I don't know. Is it just one of those things where if he shows up, Valleca just says, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing? Or if he just says, hey, this is how we're doing it, hey, let's try to hit more backside doubles or, strike out less rather than hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Let's make no mistake. If Eugenio Suarez shows up through the doors, Valleca, he's got no ground to stand on. Yeah. I mean, like, with all due respect to Valleca, and I don't even really like to bring his name up because I don't think it's fair. I guess there's got to be some semblance of an impact that they make because you do pay somebody to do that job and they are there every single day. I just have a hard time believing, at least up to the levels that you get, right? There are certain players that can get individual help, coaches on their own, that they feel like, hey, this guy kind of vibes with me. I feel like maybe they can kind of watch me play. And oddly enough, I think for some major leaguers, it's like their dad. And I know people think that's crazy to say, but like if you've had an experience with someone your entire life and they've watched you play your entire life, they do have clues on maybe things that you have a bad tendency to get into. I just hate cookie cutter models, period, right? Like there's just no way you can convince me that a cookie cutter model for any organization in general is a good way to go about something. Yeah, I guess if you're trying to fundamentally have corporate and you have 25,000 employees and you want to have some standards, sure, that makes sense. But we're dealing with athletes that have different swings, different approaches, different mindsets. I just think it's crazy to sit there and think like this is what we want as a collective unit. You'd like to say that if you are Santiago Espinal, that type of player is probably supposed to be exactly what he is, right? But if you're Austin Hayes or Ellie to a certain extent, and you have these fundamental capabilities that Espinal, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Espinal, but he just doesn't have the God-given ability to do what Ellie De La Cruz can even do. Even if he tried, he could go and work until next year, every single hour of the day, to try to have the power that Ellie has, and he just won't be able to get there. But the reality is that I hate to put it on Valleca. I really do.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mean to assume that they're trying to take everyone and mold them. I would imagine they definitely have personalized things where it's just like, this works for this person, this works for this person. And I would imagine that is happening in the Reds.
It does feel like it's bled off, though. Like, I'm not saying that your point's not well taken. I'm just saying that I have a hard time believing that it's preached as much as some believe it to be preached, right? Like, yeah. But I do think, listen, there's a ripple effect, right? Like if you're, I'm again not trying to go down this path because I feel like people think that I always bring his name up and I'm always, I guess he is the teacher's pet to a certain extent. But like if you're Will Benson, right, and you have the type of kind of situation he finds himself in, it almost seems like he is better off just to put the ball in play and hit a weak ground ball than to strike out because that's just what they'd rather prefer him to do. Meanwhile, if your sole mindset is just to put the ball in play every single time you're up there, it very much will take away from the idea of being able to put a little bit more of an aggressive swing on it. So you might be right in the sense that there's this collective preaching that has gone on, which is, hey, we want to put the ball in play and make the defense beat us, and it's bled into other things. It's hard to say that for sure, but it's possible.
All right, I got a lot of thoughts on this. All right, so first, I don't necessarily think individually I've seen any players that I feel were really screwed up by this mindset. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz currently has a career high in weighted runs created plus, currently has a career high in slugging. His isolated slugging's down a little bit, but everything else is the best of his career. So it's really hard to be like, well, and he's also gone on like a month homer slump, which I think is fluky. I haven't seen something in the last month be like, oh, he's not trying to hit home runs. I just think it's a weird thing, and he's kind of been that player. Organizationally wise, I feel like it's been more of, well, we're not going to play the home run only guys. That's been more of my gripe, has been like, we're not going to play Reese Hines over Blake Dunn or
Will
Jacob
Benson.
Hurtubise.
Garrett Hampson.
That's been more
Connor
of
Joe.
my beef, has been that we're not going to.
Don't forget Garrett Hampson. He played on this
I don't
baseball
think I
team.
ever will forget Garrett Hampson.
We're not going to play the three
Very
true,
forgettable.
true outcomes guy. I don't really like that. So I don't know mindset-wise. I would also add Josh Naylor last year with Chris Faleka as his hitting coach, hit a career-high 31 home runs, has never hit more than 20 in any other season. Jose Ramirez hit 39 home runs last year, which was also tied his career high. So either he just didn't preach very well to them, or it really didn't matter all that much.
Right. It's a fair point. I've always felt like and I think I made the joke to you, we went down to what was the Dayton Dragons facility game where they played the minor leaguers, or whatever they called them, the future stars versus the Reds. And, I think I even told you I'd like to ask Faleka because he came in to ask some questions. I said, hey, are you ready for the onslaught of people basically saying it's your fault if the Reds struggle at all offensively? Because no matter what you do, whether it's good or bad, you're going to be the whipping stick. But I obviously didn't do that.
It was a little bit more of a joyous press. It was more of a celebration type press conference. And we weren't really in our place. We were definitely out of our element.
Yeah, I wasn't well established enough maybe to ask that question, but I would have loved to just to see the. I mean, I think that there was some humor in there. Hopefully they would have picked up on that, but maybe not. Any other super chats that we need to get to, or are we good?
I think we're good. We're good. We should probably cycle out Mike. Let him go spend some time with his wife.
That's right.
We steal Mike enough this summer.
We do.
So.
Also, and genuinely, your wife's watching more than likely. If not, she's running around with kids. There's a lot of people that help us, right? Like, it's not just Trace and Nick, and that's it. There's a lot of people that behind the scenes do a lot of things for us. I would just say collectively thank you to all of those. Obviously, not just yourself, Mike. I see Eric in the crowd. There's Andrew. There's plenty of people here that help us on a daily basis. I apologize if I missed you, but it's not just them more times than not either. It's their wives. It's the people that take care of the kids or do things that allow us to do this. I always kind of feel bad because the reality is that my day or my night, I should say, starts at about 7 o'clock. I start to watch a baseball game that I try to make sure that I pay enough attention to, clearly to have something to talk about. And then it goes until 11 o'clock, and I have 3 kids, and they're gone. And I know that very much you do the same. So thank you to all the wives. Thank you for coming up here. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
You've done a great job. I know that
nice to meet you, man.
It's not the easiest thing to do in the world.
It's good to meet you all in person.
That's right.
Nick's a little taller than I expected.
Yeah, sneaky. I think it's because I might go lower on the thing. Corey, you want to come up, brother?
I had a Nick Krall joke, but I don't think it's appropriate to say.
On a day like today?
I was just saying, when do you think he's going to cut his hair? Just change the haircut.
I mean, it's such a staple. I mean, people even know who it is.
It's so bad.
I tell you what, I have seen that guy just walking through. Like, he does not care. He is a guy that will walk through any concourse. I saw him in Cleveland. Walking around with my kids, he's just walking through the concourse like any other person. Saw him at spring training just walking around. I mean, he's a man of the people.
He's going to be a man of the people until he doesn't figure out this trade deadline situation. Then he might want to stay clear of the concourse. Yeah. I'm just telling you. I mean, nobody knows who Nick Krall is now to a certain extent, but they're going to find out real soon. I'm going to tell you right now, if he stands pat once again, he's going to have everybody on the concourse looking for him. He's not hard to pick out either, you know.
Speaking of guys who have saved us this summer.
That he has.
What's up, brother?
I can't tell you guys thank you enough for the opportunity to get up here, man. This is the coolest thing I've been a part of, man. What a cool night this is, and I can't thank you enough for being out here, man. This is a lot of fun. Meeting some of the guys that have watched us on TV and that sort of stuff, just shooting the stuff with these guys. It's
Kid
been
show.
Been a
nice job right there.
Know,
that was a big league move right there.
552. We cannot.
You
were
getting ready to go to the. You know what?
Right?
You made the shoot.
My guy Chance over here at the bar, man, has been making a pretty good old fashioned. So I really got to kind of pull it back here a little bit.
They are very good. Very good.
Oh
very
man,
delicious.
fantastic. So what a cool place, man, and thanks for having us.
Awesome
and I couldn't thank you any more for the opportunity, man. And my wife thanks you because you guys are keeping me home on Friday nights and Saturday nights. So she knows where I'm at. So she's giving you guys a big thank you, no doubt. So I was actually talking over here at the bar. You guys having me follow Mike Hart, I kind of feel like Dusty Baker following the Hank Aaron 715, man. Following Mike Hart is not easy to do, brother.
No,
you want to talk about the hardest working guy in Chatterbox Sports.
Mike Hart
That's my
equals
guy.
Hank Aaron. There
That's
we go.
My guy.
To Hank Aaron.
Hey, there it is, my guy.
There it is.
Hammer and Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, well, you could be like Tito following up David Bell too, you know.
Well, there you go. Absolutely.
You could come up here. You have your own mindsets, your own thoughts. You can make up whatever you want because you've been around, you've watched it,
right?
And then you have guys like Mike Hart, who you could say was maybe like David Bell, you know,
yeah,
he's just very, very pragmatic. You know,
absolutely.
He knows everything that there is to know. Probably has the right take on almost all topics.
No doubt.
But here we are.
Absolutely. If I say anything too crazy, I've always got Chance's old fashions to fall back on. So sorry, Chatterbox fans.
There you go. All right. Well, I would just say too. I think that there's a guy that says, I love this guy. You know what? I get caught up in the chat way too long. He says, I don't watch the show often, but what's up with a guy in the middle seat wearing his sunglasses around his neck? He seems to be bad-mouthing the Reds. Have they been at the bar for a while? I've had one drink. Bad-mouthing the Reds? I'm not bad-mouthing the Reds. I'm just trying to be very, very realistic on what I see. If that means bad-mouthing them, I guess that means bad-mouthing them. I don't know. I think they're going to win tonight.
This has been a wild year. There's almost not a single day where I don't have someone say, Kirby, you're too positive, or Kirby, you're too negative.
This has been a wild year.
I must have finally found the middle ground,
brother.
Because I have gotten it. It's been almost a 50-50 split. So
you're right. No, you were Sunday night, maybe the worst show that we've ever done in Chatterbox Sports history. Genuinely,
we rallied. We rallied yesterday.
We rallied yesterday. We bounced back. It was a good bounce back game. That was one of those ones where you lose on Sunday in Oakland, and then you bounce back and you win in San Diego. Although they never did win in San Diego, but who's counting? That's here nor there. I guess we'll talk about maybe the game tonight. You have some notes we can get into. And,
some notes. Let's go.
Just give us some high level overview here on the Reds versus Dodgers tonight. Nick Kirby.
Well, Nick Lodolo on the mound for the Reds, coming off a decent start.
Yes, he has.
Complete game shutout. Never faced the Dodgers before.
Wow.
What do you think? Do you think that's an advantage, Lodolo? I feel like that's an advantage, Lodolo.
I think it's an advantage for Lodolo. They haven't quite seen a long lengthy lefty like Lodolo. So some of the stuff that he'll be able to bring, hopefully he can have some command of his pitches tonight, work the inside and outside corners. It's going to be key, especially with the top of that lineup. But, yeah, I think that's absolutely an advantage, not having faced a guy like Lodolo. You're not sure what you're getting in for. And coming off his best start of the season, let's go.
Yeah, Tyler Glass now is really good. I mean, when that guy's been able to stay on the field, he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's incredible. And this is one thing that the Dodgers can do that other teams can't do. They can sign these pitchers to high contracts that are so risky, and they can have them sit on the IL and just kind of use them whenever they're healthy. The Dodgers are a weird team when you play them too, because they're so unique. It's like when you play the Milwaukee Brewers, almost every single night you're going to get the best effort from the Brewers. But the Dodgers, if you follow that team, they legitimately just take nights off. Because every move that they make during the season is preparing for the postseason. They're trying to keep guys fresh. They're trying not to overextend guys. It must be it'd be weird to be a Dodgers fan because it's got to be exciting, but the regular season has got to be kind of boring.
To a certain extent, it is boring for them. I'm sure of it because ultimately they already know they're going to make the postseason. It's quite literally almost impossible for them to not make the postseason. And then the argument as a Dodger fan is going to ultimately be like, what do you do over a short span of baseball, which is going to be, a month and a half at most, and some series that could go one way or the other. And then that's how you judge your entire season of what is a 10-month season in 1 month. That's what they do. But I would tell you I'd like to figure out what that feels like at some point, and I'll judge for myself whether or not I'd like the way that the Red seasons go or whether I'd like the Dodgers seasons to go.
Absolutely.
I'd like to figure that out.
Kind of reminds you a little being a fan of the LeBron James basketball teams.
Yeah, no doubt.
The regular season doesn't necessarily mean as much, but when they need to turn it on, they turn it on, and there's really not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it. And it's frustrating, especially as a small market team, but by the same token, you got to beat the best. So
that's a great comp. Yeah, I obviously live in Cleveland. Yeah, their seasons, like, they didn't care if they were the 4 seed. Like,
right.
It really just did not matter at all to them. Baseball is at least a little bit different, especially now that it's structured, where they do have to play at least to get a top 2 seed. Because they obviously don't want to play in the wild card round and be whittled down to 3 games and have less of a small sample error.
Yeah, let's face it, the Dodgers over a given 7-game series is they're going to likely win that series. If they play even longer, the chances are better for them. But they're going to make sure they avoid the 3-game series. I guess more importantly, look what they can do with Ohtani, though. Like, I don't even know if that really – I'm not saying it needs to get taught about a lot, but the fact that you could just use the regular season as spring training to a certain extent for Ohtani is a luxury. I mean, more times than not, if you're in the situation that the Reds are in, you don't really have the luxury to go out and say, yeah, no problem. Just throw 2 innings. We'll fill in the rest of the game. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't really matter. We'll win tomorrow. And then 2 innings goes to 3 innings. 3 innings goes to 4 innings. And then by the time the postseason comes around, he's well established and ready to go. Hopefully Ohtani tomorrow, not to jump ahead, but hopefully there's a situation that happens that he's, feels comfortable. And after the 2nd inning, he's like, I'm good. I'm ready to.
Tonight is very important for tomorrow because he's on a strict limit. He hasn't gone more than 3 innings, and we're talking like I think he's made 6 starts and he hasn't gone more than 3. It was like 1 inning, 1 inning, 2 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, 3 innings. So I can't imagine he's going more than 4. So, I mean, it is maybe the most important game of the entire season in terms of getting Tyler Glasnow's pitch count up because the Dodgers bullpen is clearly their biggest weakness right now.
Yeah.
You saw it last night. Blake Trinan, who's really good, but he's just coming back off the IL. The quicker you can get into the bullpen, win or lose tonight, will set you up better for tomorrow. So you can. It's a hard balance though because you don't want to just be up there. We're just trying to see pitches, and all of a sudden you look up at the 7th inning, you haven't scored any runs, and you really haven't seen that many pitches because you just got ahead 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, and you just kind of got through. But any 2-strike fouling off pitches. Let's count those up tonight.
You sound like a guy.
We're gonna give him a cheer every time.
You sound like a guy that wants Santiago Espinal to hit 1 through 9 to me. That's what you're looking for. I mean, if we can
it's kind
be
of
honest,
a shame he's on the lineup tonight.
If we can be honest, though, I think that there's a very clear picture of what's been painted. Like we were confused at the beginning of the season on maybe exactly what they wanted, or what the identity they wanted this team to be. And I think it's become more and more clear of what they hope it to be. Now, the problem is I don't know if this team's designed to do exactly what they want it to be, which is 1 through 9. You have a very, very solid lineup. You can pass the baton to the next guy, and you can trust that they're probably going to get the job done. The reality is we just don't have enough. We don't have enough consistent players, in my opinion, to do that. We have a lot of guys that I think are big league type talent players, no doubt. Like you look at Tyler Stevenson, I don't think anybody in their right mind would say Tyler Stevenson's not a big league catcher, but Tyler Stevenson is very much Jekyll and Hyde more times than not. Like there could go 3 weeks on end where Tyler Stevenson has no power and then he's the NL Player of the Week. Spencer Steer has done that. I go back to Jay Bruce. Like it feels like this team has a lot of those types of players, whereas in order for you to do maybe what they preach, I just don't see that adding up more times than not.
Well, to that point, I kind of feel like Gavin Lux is a good measuring stick as far as that's concerned. Gavin Lux in our lineup is one of the best hitters we have, a guy that we want up in a critical spot. Gavin Lux in the Dodgers lineup is just a dude. You know what I mean? He's just a guy that could probably be expendable, that sort of stuff. But Gavin Lux in our lineup looks completely different because he's a guy that we have to rely on a consistent basis to where he's probably hitting in the 7 hole in the Dodgers lineup.
He batted 9th in the World Series last year.
And that's exactly my point. So that kind of measuring stick, having him play in the Dodgers situation kind of gives you where we are as a franchise versus where the Dodgers kind of are as a franchise. Gavin Lux is a very important part of what we need, and we kind of need him in the lineup to get things going, where Gavin Lux would be a Santiago Espinal or something like that in the 100%. Dodgers lineup. So I feel like he's a good measuring stick as far as that concerned, to your point.
Yeah, and Gavin Lux needs to play a little bit better for us lately. I mean, he's struggled.
Yeah, I mean, he had that month of April where I think it was just he had terrible luck. I feel like he had terrible luck. Then he played really well, I feel like, in May. And then I thought he was going to take off, and then he just hasn't. He's one guy that they desperately need to play better. Yeah. Just to kind of be, I don't know,
relevant.
An enforcer against right-handed pitching. Because he's a big piece, and he's capable of that. I mean, in the second half last year, he was legitimately one of the 10 best hitters in baseball. Now, maybe that was completely fluky. I hope it wasn't. But, yeah, I mean, if you're talking one guy that you think hasn't performed well enough that could get to that level, it's either Gavin Lux or Tyler Stevenson for me.
Okay.
That's fair. Matt McLean, based off of I don't know how long you were looking. Matt McLean is a very interesting situation. I mean, you could convince me that guy is going to end up having five All-Star game appearances, be a legitimate, great infielder for the Cincinnati Reds, or you can convince me in 2 years that we were like, man,
he's Santiago Espinal.
What happened to Matt McLean?
That's a scary thought, Nick. That's a scary thought.
I don't know, not say there's a slight to Santiago Espinal. I'm saying like he's the utility platoon player.
You got some more positive news too. I see coming up.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Jose Trevino 5 for his last 46 with no extra bases. I mean, I don't know who could have possibly saw this coming. It's not like this. The back of this guy's baseball card.
We're not doing this.
Indicated that was possible.
I mean, it's almost like they decided to take a guy that was also hitting really, really well, and then told him to sit for a month and see how that worked out for him.
I mean,
it's almost like, hey, Tyler Stevenson, good to see you, but Jose Trevino's got like an 850 OPS. He'll sit on the bench for a month. Have fun. You know what's funny is that you give that credit, you give that excuse for Will Benson, which is fair. It's a fair point. Will Benson has a great time that he doesn't play for a week and a half. You give Will Benson the credit that he doesn't get enough consistent at bats to play well. But Jose Trevino, now it's his fault. The back of his baseball card is because he's not playing well. I mean, he plays once a week.
Yeah, but I would say that Will Benson actually made it to the big leagues because of his bat, where Jose Trevino didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of Will Benson's a touchy subject.
Right now I'm trying to think of a player that has played out there. Like Eugenio Suarez, I guess it's like everybody wants Eugenio Suarez because he's leading the league in home runs, but the back of his baseball card would tell you that probably not going to keep playing that way.
But I think he has like 4 straight 4-win seasons. The last year he wasn't good.
I know. Listen, I'm trying to fight the fight that Jose Trevino is going to keep up an 850 OPS. I'm not saying that maybe specifically. I also think it's just incredible. To me, it's incredibly unfair to take a guy that was playing every single day, had a role in this team, didn't have to wake up every day and worry about whether or not he was in the lineup or not, and then all of a sudden now we're going to compare what he's done at the plate based off the fact that when he wakes up every day he probably has no clue whether he's in the lineup or not. And more times than not, he's not. So then it's just an unfair ask out of a guy to keep up, what was basically a league leader. I mean, we can make fun of it all we want. You know what's funny about this whole thing? I'm being honest. If we trade Will Benson, the Reds would never be buyers if it wasn't for Will Benson. Never. Never in a million years.
They would be buyers because of Jose Trevino, too. I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like
great for.
There's certain guys at the beginning of this year that kept this team even somewhat even alive. Like not to get like, we were not very good for a long period of time. And there were some players on this baseball team that supposedly aren't very good players that kept us in the hunt. Just saying. Let's just show some respect to Jose Trevino.
I like Jose Trevino. I think he's a valuable player. I just did not think his offense would ever keep up.
Our catcher position has been a weird spot all year long because, God forbid, we bring up the Austin Wins of the whole situation.
Well,
another guy playing well that we sent out of town because he wasn't getting the at-bats.
Austin Wins, to be fair, is a little bit of a joke. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
It's been a weird spot all year long.
He's going to bring up the fact that Austin Wins is hitting like 110.
Yeah, he's up to 217.
All right.
Okay. He's been on a heater in Oakland. Sacramento, sorry.
Sacramento.
My apologies.
Well, I think at the end of the day, like, and I've said this before about the Reds, like at some point it'd be nice, you know, this fan base is just, we're fighting the fight, you know, like we want to watch meaningful baseball in the postseason for a very, very long time. And in any situation, whether it's your personal life or you see a situation somewhere else, when there's strife and there's something that you want so bad, there's debate that happens, and then there is almost little toxicity that comes with that. And the reality is that at one point, I just want to remind everybody that Ellie De La Cruz was on the chopping block not that long ago in this town. And at least we've gotten over that hump. So, you know, maybe at some point we'll have enough good baseball players on this team that we're not fighting over whether Santiago Espinal should be playing or not playing. That's my goal as a fan. I just wake up every day and it's like, you know what? We're so good. We can't sit here and argue about who should be playing what and where because we're fighting over guys that got 70 OPS pluses. Well, this guy's better. He's a 79. Like, really? I mean, which pig looks better?
Right.
The crazy thing is that 2012 team had some awful offensive players on that roster. That's the wildest thing is that team that won 97 games. I mean, I don't know if you remember the name Wilson Valdez.
Yeah, I do.
There's a name drop.
He was awful. And I think Miguel Cairo, who shout out to Miguel Cairo, was incredible in 2010, 2011, was not in 2012. There were some rough players on that roster.
Any final things that you have on here before we do the supers? And then obviously I want to make sure we have time to meet everybody before we walk over to the game. So anything that you want to
we got two more supers, so let's get to those. Ned Flanders. It's not a Chatterbox Reds show without a Ned Flanders super chat.
No, it's not.
If he does a super chat, I almost feel like I'm doing something wrong. Kirby, you are both too positive and too negative. Be better. I will try. For you specifically, Ned, I'll keep you in mind.
Ned's got some good supers more times than not.
Mason Taylor, this is a really nice one. I mean, thank you guys for what you do. Gets me through the day. I mean, that means a lot. It really does. As silly as that might seem, there are people that super chat, people that send me DMs, and it's really appreciated. It really does because it can be a grind, and sometimes you don't always get the kindest remarks online. So that is very nice. Appreciate you, Mason. Yeah, I even appreciate most of the haters that tune in. There's about 5 that I don't.
Trust me, if you would have told me back in the day that we would have had people that send us the messages that we get because they don't like our takes, I would have said, well, at least
I guess we're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're doing something right, but at least someone's paying attention. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, like, you can take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. Any final parting thoughts on the game tonight from a notes perspective that you had that you wanted to share?
I think I got it all out of the chamber.
All right. I just want to say to everyone that's here, thank you very much. I know that you can hear me. Everyone that's in the chat, people that watch online, the fact that we have, 400 plus in here at any given moment right now tonight on a pregame show that, quite frankly, I don't know what we've divulged that maybe is breaking news or not, but we try to keep things light. We try to have fun. And most importantly, we just want to continue to build a community of people that care about the Reds, that want to talk about them, and at least have some reasonable discussion one way or the other. Whether you're on the buyers bandwagon or whether you're on the sellers bandwagon, I think we're all on the same bandwagon, which is the Cincinnati Reds. Hopefully they can find a way to win tonight. If they do, I think that it lends itself well at the deadline for them to probably go and get some help. So whether you, again, I know I'm hesitant to say this, whether you want to consider these games to be major, must-win, big opportunities, whatever term you want to use, or if you want to do the 1 of 162, I don't care what it is. At least I just want to say thank you for supporting us and watching what we do. From Smoke Justis out here in Covington, Kentucky, thank you for watching Chatterbox Reds. And I got one final thing to say. You got one thing to say?
I was going to make sure we tell about programming throughout the rest of the week.
Sure, you do. I
mean, there's
first.
379 people watching. I mean, we got to throw our shameless plugs out here.
Please do. You do. That.
There is a post-game show tonight. There might be people who think maybe we're not doing one, but we're still here. Craig Sandlin and Clay Snowden both doing the post-game show, so there will be a really good post-game show. Those guys are great, so make sure you tune into that, support, like that stream and all that. Of course, we'll be doing our normal post-game show tomorrow, and then Thursday at some point we'll do a trade deadline special. It just depends on where we're at on Thursday. We will be through the deadline. Mike Hart is going to join me. I'm going to bring on some other guests as well. We'll be through the deadline. If the Reds haven't made a lot of moves and it looks like they're going to be active, we'll probably go on earlier in the day and just stay on all afternoon. But we'll kind of play it by ear. And then, of course, if there's breaking news outside of tonight, you can almost guarantee there's going to be a Reds trade at 11 p.m. tonight. It's happening as soon as Clay and Craig hit in-stream. Trade's happening. Book it. It's happening.
You just have to pull off on the next rest stop.
Yeah.
Get your phone out.
We'll roll.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll always figure it out.
But if there's breaking news tomorrow, we'll be live at some point.
That we will. And I just want to say, I have never been a blame the umpire guy, okay? I don't think that more times than not the umpires are the difference in the game. And I'm not even saying that last night the difference in the game. But at some point, when you see that there's ABS in the All-Star game and you think, wow, that's pretty cool. They can just tap their head and they can get it right almost in a blink of an eye. Now, am I saying they need to do that every pitch? No, I'm not. But when you are this bad at your job, you at least have to have some accountability. Now, I'm going to go to the game tonight, and there's a damn good chance this thing's going to get confiscated at the gates. And if it is, I'm going to have some people recording it, and we'll make sure that it's documented, that I tried to make sure that there was some accountability. This is accountability on both sides, by the way. This is not just a Reds fan. This is also the Dodgers. This guy, home plate umpire of a Major League Baseball game, was this bad. Now, some people might think, oh, you weren't going to do that. No, I tell you, if I tweet something out and I say I'm going to do it, I do it. Now, they say that you're supposed to have 16-inch by 16-inch by 8-inch to get in. Now, I do think I can cram this thing down to meet the dimensions, and I will do that at the gate, but only if they make me do that. But if you want to look into the where we're sitting, the mezzanine tonight or something like that, I don't even know where we're sitting. We're sitting somewhere. I'm hopeful that guy that's got no business being a home plate umpire in Major League Baseball will see this sign. Do you know how bad you have to be to miss this many calls in one game? Like, you have to be piss poor bad. Now, it's a kid's show. We're going to keep it at that, obviously. But 84%. And by the way, for those that are wondering, 84%, that's quite literally count every single pitch. And there's probably about 85% of the pitches that are either a foul ball or someone swings and misses, or there's not even a call to be made. So,
17-7.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. But I just want to know, I don't know if we're going to be able to get that in the gates. We're going to try.
Could someone tweet at us?
We're going to do this.
Where he's at?
I mean,
is he the third base line, first base line?
Well, he's not going to be able to see it, Nick, regardless of where the hell he's at.
If you go down one of the lines, I mean, hey, they come over by the dugout to get water between innings. I mean, there's a real chance you could get him to see it.
It's going to have to be one of his crewmates. I don't think he can see anything. But regardless, I just want everybody to know that we do appreciate them. We love them. And we will end this stream right now. Take care, everybody. From Smoke Justis in Covington, Kentucky, this is Trace Fowler signing off for Chatterbox Reds. Thank you, guys.